moment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
WCKY Cincinnati, an iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human. ESPN 1530.
iHeart Radio.
That is us, 23 after 3 o'clock. This is ESPN 1530. Mock Turtle Soup Day audio coming up in just about 10 minutes. And we got Joey Votto audio from his NBC debut last night, which was terrific. A little bit later on, I'm going to stick up for Bob Costas. Don't forget, this week, Bengals training camp begins. I mentioned our shows on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will have 10 different live broadcasts from training camp, but also, and don't forget this, starting Wednesday, training camp updates every single day, every single hour, 3:45, 4:45, and 5:45. We are about to enter the next 6 weeks where Tony Pike works harder and more than anybody else. So hopefully he's enjoying his round of golf today. 3:45, 4:45, and 5:45. And we have training camp reports every single day, even on days when the Bengals don't have training camp practice. Off season's over. Players report tomorrow. First practice is on Wednesday, and thus begins the most important chapter in Joe Burrow's NFL career, years 7 through 10. And thus begins what I would argue is the most important chapter in Bengals history. Maybe Joe Burrow plays here for the next 15 years. Maybe he ends up signing a long-term extension. I think we all hope that he does. But you have him under contract for the next 4 years. Joe Burrow has been an unbelievable player for this team. The Burrow effect continues to be felt. Joe Burrow has helped a lot of people on the field and off with the Bengals, and who have nothing to do with the Bengals. He's helped a lot of people get paid. You have Joe for 4 more years. They've enjoyed great success, individual success. Joe has established himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, back-to-back years where they've made conference championship games, a Super Bowl appearance, division titles, first time in franchise history where they advance in the postseason in consecutive years, like smashing success, along with some insane disappointments. You got him for the next 4 years. If you look at NFL history, and I'm going to hopefully not butcher this, but if you look at NFL history, there's obviously quarterbacks who have won almost instantly. Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, guys like that who win almost instantly. Patrick Mahomes. But the largest group of quarterbacks in NFL history who have won their first Super Bowl won it between the 6th and 10th year of their career. Now, let's be honest, most quarterbacks don't play more than 10 years. Most quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls, but it hasn't happened the first 6. If it doesn't happen over the next 4, let's be honest, man, chances are it's not going to happen. Either it's not going to happen for Joe, or if it does happen for Joe, it's not going to happen in Cincinnati. And so, like, I get it, man. We all get so tired of the psychoanalysis of Joe Burrow. It can be exhausting. And if you're doing any psychoanalysis of Joe Burrow, if you've done anything here, at least during the second half of the offseason, the psychoanalysis should include the fact that Joe is saying he's re-energized, sounding re-energized, looking re-energized. I think Joe Burrow mirrors the fan base. How many of us feel rejuvenated when it comes to our interest and excitement and optimism for this team relative to where we were November, December, and early January of this past season? But it really now comes down to, do they win a title over the next couple of years? And let's be honest, we could talk about winning it in the next 4. It's really about winning it in the next 2, because who knows where things are going to go for the final 2 years of those deals, based on some players getting older, or even Joe deciding, I'm going to hit the eject button on my time in Cincinnati prematurely. But you got 4 shots. And like, it sounds pessimistic when I say this, but like if the Bengals are going to win one, if they're going to win one with Joe Burrow, we're entering that stage the next 4 years. Feels like it's not going to fly by. Chances are it will. So, all right, it's pretty basic. This is the most obvious thing I've ever said on this show. If you don't win one this year, then you are down to 3 shots. And maybe there is a long-term deal that gets done. And again, man, who doesn't want it? But the odds of Joe and the Bengals extending their relationship with each other into the next decade only really go up if they share some success. Years 7 through 10. If it doesn't happen in the next 4, and like you can go, well, wait a minute. If Joe Burrow leaves at the end of this decade, they're not going to fold the franchise, maybe. But you have any idea what's behind door number 2 looking for a quarterback? So like that's now, I think you could argue they have put themselves in a really good position to go and at least contend for one because of the moves they've done this offseason. But like that's, everybody talks about it's a no excuses season, or it's a season where Zach Taylor's on the hot seat, or it's a season where it's kind of all on Joe Burrow. By the way, it is. And if you're a Bengals fan, that's a really good place to be. If your franchise is all about the play of your quarterback, awesome, because we all love the quarterback the Bengals have. But like now to me, it's like, all right, they've done the, Joe as a rookie, Joe the first couple of years where we're all smitten and they go to the playoffs and they go to a Super Bowl and you kind of feel like at that time the sky's the limit. And then the last 3 years have been thoroughly disappointing individually and collectively. But now we're at a place where they've sniffed success, come this close, been a massive disappointment the last 3. The barometer is, do they win one? The barometer is, do they win one? And I know it still feels like Joe just got here. And I mean, dude's going to be 30 by the end of this season. Certainly not old, certainly potentially years of high-end play in front of him, assuming he doesn't get hurt. But like, that's the window we're in right now. And it sounds obvious. And I guess to a large degree it is, but we talk about like Joe's relationship with the team and is he going to try to angle for a way out? And is he happy here? Is he going to ask for a trade? Like, man, your guess is as good as mine. What I know is this: he's under contract for the next 4 years. This is it. Entering the most significant chapter, I would argue, in the history of the franchise. If Joe is the most important acquisition in franchise history, and I would argue he is, then you got to win with him. If you don't win with him now, are you gonna? Don't even know if the dude's going to be here. So you can talk about like, well, it's hot seat for Zach. I don't know. Hot seat for Joe Burrow, probably not. Not going to be getting rid of him. But here it is. This is it. All the offseason work has us to a point where I think we can legitimately talk about this team at least having a shot to seriously contend. And if they fall short of that, kind of running out of years where they actually can contend. We'll see. 331. Mock Turtle Soup, you'll hear from what the Bengals had to say at the media luncheon. Also, we'll slobber over Joey Votto's NBC debut. Sports headlines, too. Bad news for a Red. That's next. ESPN 1530.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. On southbound 71 at Western Row Road, still an accident on the left shoulder. One of those cars off in the median. Police are there on scene as well, working to clear. Northbound side has been cleared out. There's also an accident on Clifton Avenue that's over at Burnett Woods Drive. I'm Eddie Zellick with traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Monty Montgomery, producer of Our American Stories. In our next episode, one man shares a story of how hawking hot dogs at MLB games changed his life. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the station.
Friday night, the Florence Yalls host Bluey Night. Bring the kids to meet their favorite blue pup. Sponsored by Recreations Outlet. The first 1,000 fans get a Yalls branded fidget toy, plus another spectacular Rozzy fireworks Friday after the game. Presented by McDonald's. Saturday is Country Night with Tank. The first 1,000 fans score a Yalls keychain with country music, themed entertainment, and a mechanical bull. After the game, enjoy the Bill Brown Band. Free parking and lots of fun. The Florence Yalls. You have a free ticket to Cincinnati's On Point Music Festival, August 7th and 8th at Sawyer Point. Rock out to phenomenal regional alt, folk, indie, punk, and bluegrass bands. Experience electrifying performances from the Tillers, St. Seneca, Trauma, Illinois, Silmar, Maria Corelli, and more. Between sets, grab delicious eats and drinks, glide on the roller skating rink, or try your hand at pickleball. Visit CincinnatiParks.com for the full music lineup. We'll see you rocking for free at the On Point Music Festival, August 7th and 8th.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness, so you can smell unstoppable.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price as 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at StraightTalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Cincinnati Sports Station. This is ESPN 1530.
Sports headlines are a service of Kelsey Chevrolet, home of lifetime powertrain protection and guaranteed credit approval from their family to yours for life. KelseyChev.com. Reds starting a 9-game homestand. You know, I say that. Now, I question myself. It's actually a 10-game homestand, isn't it? Yes, because they play 4 with the Pirates. 3 + 4 + 3 is 10. 10-game homestand underway for the Reds tonight as they host the Cleveland Guardians at GABP. First of 3, Chase Brown and Slade Ciccone on the hill. 7:10 tonight's first pitch on 700 WLW, the latest installment in the battle for the Ohio Cup, which the Guardians lead 2-1 so far this season. Bad news for Spencer Steer. He goes on the injured list with a right wrist sprain. Buster Olney of ESPN.com says they expect Buster does, or they expect Spencer and Buster at the same in the same sentence. Buster says the Reds expect Spencer to miss a significant amount of time. Your starting lineup tonight: Ivan Johnson, by the way, up from Louisville; Ellie De La Cruz at short; Sal Stewart at first base. Sal Stewart came up in the 10th inning as a pinch hitter yesterday. The guy on third base because of the magic runner and a wild pitch and nobody out. There are very, very few things I would have bet every dime I own on happening. Sal Stewart getting the guy in from third base with less than 2 outs is one of those things. Sal has obviously had an awesome rookie season. Sal Stewart should have been with the Reds in the middle of the season last year. And who knows how last year would have unfolded had he been. And, yep, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And his home run against Seattle on Wednesday was arguably the biggest hit of the road trip. But I love watching Sal Stewart shorten his swing with 2 strikes. And this sounds like hokey sort of stuff. You just had a sense whether it was with a hit, which is what he got, or a sacrifice fly, he was at the very least going to get the guy in. And in that situation, I'm a big believer, and the math would bear this out. When you're the road team and the game is tied, you got to score twice. So sacrifice fly would have been nice. But you really need another guy on base. They obviously scored 3 times in the inning. There was a sacrifice bunt. I hate sacrifice bunts, but it didn't bother me as much when they had Edwin Arroyo lay one down, and it was a well-executed sacrifice bunt. But watching Sal Stewart hit, there is something, and I know this is cliche, there is something about him that sort of is beyond his years. Because, yeah, man, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but in situations, and I think you've seen a handful of them on this road trip where you're just looking for him to get the run in from third base, he does nearly every single time. And the stats bear that out. Anyway, Sal Stewart's batting second, Bledazin right. Eugenio Suarez hits cleanup and bats and plays third. Nathaniel Lowe DHs, Tyler Stevenson catches, Dane Myers in center, Edwin Arroyo at second base, TJ Friedel in left field, bats ninth. Bengals annual media luncheon was today. The players report tomorrow. The first training camp practice open to the public, by the way, Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. If you can't be there in person, we'll have it all for you, Tony and I, live on ESPN 1530 starting at 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. I am all tangled up here. If I sound uncertain, and I'm going to try to – oh, there you go. I'm all better now. Taryn, I'm all better now. My headphone wire was caught in the wheel of the chair.
Well, people watching have seen that.
That's right. You could have watched that. I had to my headphone cord is long, and I usually have something that sort of shortens it and ties it. I don't know where that thing went. And so when I went back on the air after the break, I rolled my wheel on top of it, and we have like these office chairs in here, and it got stuck. So it's all fixed. It's all better. And if you were watching on, we're broadcasting. It's on YouTube as well today. I have a YouTube channel. So you could have watched that had you been watching, but nonetheless, all good. We're fine. Let's play the audio from Mock Turtle Soup Day. Why don't we do that? Zach Taylor talking with members of the assembled Pro Football Media, and Seg Dennison was down there getting this audio for us, and so we want to say thanks as always to our guy Seg. Here is the head coach of the Bengals talking about challenging his coaches to make sure the best players are on the field and playing at their best.
We got a lot of good players in all 3 phases. And so I think just by the time you get to the first game of the season, there's a lot of things we got to work on as a team that sometimes you just got to put into training camp. So you got it in your back pocket. But as we come out of this thing, we got a lot of great players that other teams will fear. And I want them to have the utmost confidence in the work they put in, the confidence in the position we're putting them in to do what they do best and to cause problems on the other team. And so I think we got a lot of those players that are that tier. We got a lot of players that have a really critical role to play for us that are, to an extent, glue guys, really, really good players who will play off some of these high-tier players we got. So I'm really excited about the collection of talent that we've got on our team and the role everybody's going to play. in order for us to be successful.
Joe Burrow said it earlier this offseason that this is, and I'm paraphrasing him here, this is the most talent they've had since 2022. Now, I don't know that he was saying that this team is better than 2022. A lot of the folks who do shouty TV shows and hot takery kind of took it as much. I took it as a statement that I agree with. This is the most talent they've had since 2022. Is this team going to be as good as 2022? I've argued, and the playoff results obviously don't bear this out because they didn't advance to the Super Bowl. I think the 2022 team is the best Bengals team in franchise history. They went 12-4. No other Bengals team has done better than 12 wins. Obviously, that was the year of the Damar Hamlin game, so they only played 17 games, or else maybe they would have won 13. That is a pretty lofty standard. I think when you say it's the most talented team since 2022, that's less about what they had in 2022 and more about what they haven't had each of the last 3 years. Specifically, I think the last two, and in particular on defense. Let's be honest. A year ago at this time, we didn't want to admit it, right? We did not want to admit it. But we knew the Bengals were going to stink on defense. Maybe not to the degree they did, but come on now. They were atrocious on defense in 2024. And a year ago at this time, I sat in this studio talking about this. As much as, we spent a lot of time on Trey Hendrickson and the Shamar Stewart hold in, hold out weirdness. The real story of last offseason was really didn't make the defense any better. Where were the acquisitions? Where were the upgrades? Where were players the caliber of the ones the Bengals got this offseason? We knew the Bengals were going to stink on defense. It being summertime and training camp and, a time for nothing but optimism, nobody wanted to admit that. But we kind of knew. I mean, they brought back Geno Stone during an offseason where they asked him to take a pay cut. This offseason, I think it would be a shock if the Bengals defense was putrid. Now, how good's it going to be? I don't know. Do the pieces fit? Do the pieces fit early? I think there's a big premium on that. Kelsey Conway was on this show talking about this last week. Go listen to that on the iHeartRadio app. Look, the Bengals' track record in recent years is slow starts, namely on offense. Now, they did win their first 2 games last year. Unfortunately, Joe got hurt in the second one. But offensively, to start the year, they were kind of clunky. If that continues, it puts the onus on the defense. This defense is going to have coalesced by week 1. We'll see. But a year ago at this time, if the head coach of the team would have talked about the quality of players they have, I think we would have said, yeah, Zach, if you're only talking about the offense, sure. Now, that applies to the entire team. That wasn't the case a year ago. I do not recall what Zach Taylor had to say at Mock Turtle Soup Day a year ago. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But if he would have said and gone on about the quality of players his team has, I think we would have laughed at him because we would have said, dude, your defense stunk last year, and it's like the same dudes. I don't know that anybody is laughing at Zach this year. At least they shouldn't based on that comment. Give me one more on feeling pressure to get the Bengals back to the postseason. Yeah, he sounds excited. He should sound excited. There's inherent pressure that comes with his job. I think if he was being completely honest, he would tell you, like, year after year after year of wasting Joe Burrow and not making the postseason, at some point, that's going to reflect poorly on the coach, and it's going to cost him his job. And I think that's the expectation this year, even if nobody wants to come out and say that. More from Mock Turtle Soup Day a little bit later on. 513-749-1530 will get you in. 866-702-3776. There's something else about the Bengals that it's okay to admit. That coming up at 4:05. And often this year, I've asked you to put yourself in the shoes of Reds ownership. When you have a conversation with Nick Krall, right? Put yourself in Phil Castellini's shoes for a second, and you're having a conversation about Nick Krall or with Nick Krall. There's a new question you have to ask, and I'll tell you what that is. That might be the longest tease of all time. What you should be asking Nick Krall if you're Phil Castellini is a more eloquent way of putting it. That coming up in just about 20 minutes. But we got to talk about Joey Votto on NBC last night next.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Southbound 71 at Western Row Road, there's an accident off on the left shoulder. Car still on the median there. Police tow blocking that left shoulder. Also a crash on State Route 73. That's between Hale and Mitchell Road. Expect a few delays making your way through there. I'm Eddie Zelek with traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Monty Montgomery, producer of Our American Stories. In our next episode, one man shares a story of how hawking hot dogs at MLB games changed his life. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
This summer, Valpak is helping you save smarter with offers from trusted local and national brands delivered right to your mailbox and inbox. From home improvement and dining to everyday services, Valpak connects families with savings they can actually use. Featured this month, Champion Windows. For over 70 years, Champion has designed and installed custom replacement windows made in the USA. Look for Champion Windows offers inside your Valpak blue envelope or visit valpak.com, where smart shoppers find savings and brands they trust.
Mo Egger here. Right now at Window World, get 10 new Energy Star windows for $77.90. That's just $159 a month, or 8 for $62.72. That's just $128 a month.
Thanks, Mo. For more details, visit WindowWorldCincinnati.com.
If you run a business and need to get your message to your next customers fast, nothing is faster than audio with iHeart. Let us help you reach the audience you need to grow your business at the speed of sound at iHeartAdvertising.com.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. If you want to save Mo money on insurance, United Heartland Insurance, in partnership with Auto Owners, is about to change your life. I'm talking savings so good you'll scream, Mo money, out your car window like you just won the lottery. Your neighbors are going to worry, but you're not going to care because you're saving money. United Heartland Insurance and Auto Owners gives you great rates, real service, and zero nonsense. No jingles or mascots, just pure, glorious Cincinnati-style savings. UHINS.com. That's UHINS.com.
I'm Nick Turturro. You probably know me from NYPD Blue, The Longest Yard, or Spike Lee's Black Klansman. And on my new podcast, Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, I deliver pizza to a new guest. I've shared a slice with everyone, from Seth Rollins. What are you doing with my belt? To Bill Burr.
I don't think I've ever met somebody so exactly out of their mind.
We even have more great guests coming up, including John Turturro.
It's called happiness. Delivering happiness.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, and listen now.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold about.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 513-847-0019. That's 513-847-0019. 513-847-0019.
Progressive provides protection for your boat and other outdoor vehicles so you can explore new things.
Oh, I can finally try pesto.
We meant like water skiing.
I've just never had pesto.
Or maybe take the boat somewhere new.
I mean, is pesto spicy or sweet? Oh, guess we'll find out, right?
Right. Bundle home or auto insurance with your boat, RV, or motorcycle and stay protected with Progressive while you explore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for pesto.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
From the Wyoming Air Tempstar Weather Center, here's your forecast.
Scattered storms move in this afternoon and this evening, some of which could turn severe. Large hail, damaging wind gusts, isolated tornado, and flash flooding will all have to be monitored for on this 9/1 warning weather alert day. Scattered storms continue overnight, and then tomorrow we're drying out. We'll see highs in the mid-80s. Even humidity drops during the day with a partly cloudy sky. I'm Jennifer Ketchmark from the Mo Edgar Show on ESPN 1530, Cincinnati's sports station.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com.
Oh, that grinding and squealing. What are you going to do about that?
Time for new brakes. The chain store never has what I need.
No worries. Go to RockAuto.com for name brands at lower prices.
All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
Hey, Alexa, who got cut?
Getting ESPN 1530 from iHeartRadio.
So this offseason, we found out that Joey Votto, future Hall of Famer Joey Votto, is going to do work for NBC. He's done some stuff already this season. He's been a guest on the Dan Patrick Show. He's done some hits for MLB Network. When we saw that he was going to be a regular analyst for NBC, I think a lot of us came to the same conclusion, which was he's going to be really, really good. Even if you weren't a huge fan of Joey Votto when he was playing here, I would kind of wonder why, but whenever he talked about hitting, whenever he talked about his approach, whenever he talked about any struggles he may be having, I think he always gave thoughtful, insightful answers. In the second half of his career, he showed a little bit more of his personality. He could be self-effacing. He could be humorous. And I'm not talking about like being a stand-up comedian, but you know, he let his personality show, and you thought, man, if he shows some of that while he's doing games, not only are you going to get somebody who's insightful, you're going to get somebody who's entertaining. And then in 2021, when he missed some time and missed a couple of months on the injured list, he would make cameos on the Reds TV broadcast, and he was terrific. And you also thought, like, this is a guy who's actually going to work at this. This is somebody who, if you knew anything about Joey Votto, you saw the seriousness with which he took his craft, and so you knew he would work at it. And Taryn's working on playing some Justin Timberlake music right now. But you knew he would work at it. So last night, he made his debut on NBC. He was a part of the pregame show. He was with Bob Costas, and then during the game, they had him on the broadcast where the play-by-play guy is Jason Benetti. They had John Kruk in the booth. He does Phillies games. They had Joe Girardi in the booth. He does Yankees games. And they had Joey Votto perched in a camera well, which is, they've done that with other guys. CC Sabathia has been in a camera well for some of their Sunday night games as well. And so he's like right there on the field, right next to a dugout. And he was terrific. And I will admit, I didn't get a chance to watch the entire broadcast. It ended up being kind of a dog of a game, Phillies beating the New York Yankees, but I saw enough. I think Joey Votto is already better than most national baseball analysts, and maybe that's not a very high bar to clear. And look, you don't have to be revolutionary. You don't have to be have a shtick. You just have to be insightful. Here is a small snippet of Joey Votto's insight while sitting in the camera well next to the dugout watching Kyle Schwarber hit last night. That was technical without being over anybody's head. That was a guy making his debut. Now, yes, he's done a lot of interviews. He's done some MLB Network stuff. He did games with John Sadak and Barry Larkin or whoever else was in the booth when he was hurt toward the end of his time with the Reds. That was a guy making his NBC Sunday Night Baseball debut. Did that sound like somebody who's a rookie? Did that sound like somebody just getting his feet wet? I don't know. John Smoltz is like the number one guy. I'm not a huge fan, quite frankly, but that's neither here nor there. He's like the number one guy. He's the color guy for the World Series. He's the color guy for the All-Star game. He's the color guy for all of Fox's big games. I don't know that you'll find 2 minutes that John Smoltz has authored, for lack of a better way of putting it, that are better than what you just heard there from Joey. There are other examples. I could play them for you. Joey Votto, if he wants to do this, like seriously wants to do this, forget doing local baseball. There's great value in doing local baseball. We have some great color analysts here. He could be the number one guy at a network. Don't know if that's what he wants to do, but last night, he's a natural. It's 4 o'clock on ESPN, 1530 Cincinnati Sports Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Bankin. The wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot Sunday night in her Virginia home. Police have charged the couple's 27-year-old son, Elijah. Chiefs coach Andy Reid addressed the situation earlier as the Chiefs continue with work at training camp.
Our hearts go out to Eric Bieniemy and his family. Thoughts and prayers are with them. I can't get into details on it, but things happen sometimes, and Eric will work through it. He's got a great support group here, as does his family.
Mia Bieniemy is in stable condition and remains hospitalized. Eric Bieniemy left Chiefs camp, and Reid said there's no timetable for his return. North Carolina football general manager Michael Lombardi has been placed on paid administrative leave at the university with no details given, but the decision stemmed from a human resources complaint. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones said on the Pat McAfee show he's been cleared for practice at training camp. Jones suffered an Achilles tear last December. In baseball, one afternoon game involved at the top of the AL West. They were in the top of the sixth inning. The Rangers lead the Mariners 7-2. Texas with a game-and-a-half lead in the division. Later tonight, the Yankees and White Sox open a 4-game series.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. If you're a cigar smoker, this time of year, you got to make sure you're well stocked. And that's where the Leaf to Ash Cigar Lounge comes in. On the east side of Cincinnati, worth the drive from anywhere in town. You're going to love the selection. The staff is extraordinarily knowledgeable. And by the way, if you're looking for a place to enjoy a cigar, you will love the Upstairs Lounge. They've got locker and VIP programs too. The Leaf to Ash Cigar Lounge. If you love cigars, you've got to check this place out. Learn more at ltacl.com.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Cincinnati, your summer starts at the Cincinnati Open. From August 8th through the 23rd, come experience world-class tennis, live entertainment, incredible food and drinks, and non-stop energy across our transformed campus. And the best part? Grounds passes and tickets are available throughout the tournament, giving you access to matches, practice courts, fan experiences, and more. Get tickets now at CincinnatiOpen.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just one dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
From the ESPN 1530 studio, built on the financial foundation of Omega Wealth Private Capital, where wise money matters.
This is 1530 WCKY, the 50,000-watt orange and black home of the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Southbound 71 at Western Row Road, there's an accident off on the left shoulder. One of those cars still in the median. Police tow truck there on scene working to clear. Now the right lane blocked off from a disabled vehicle that's southbound on State Route 741 over at Kings Mills Drive. I'm Eddie Zelek with traffic.
Hi, I'm Chris with Rolling Homes, built in Cincinnati, built on trust. Selling your house doesn't have to be a hassle. No repairs, no fees, no stress. We focus on doing what's right for you with a clear, fair offer and no surprises. You choose the timeline and we make it happen. Local, experienced, and here to help. One call, one offer, done. Call 513-513-CASH. That's 513-513-CASH. Rolling Homes. Call us today and see how easy selling your home can be.
When employers like iHeart and ProSource choose Delta Dental of Ohio, employees can access top quality care from a large nationwide network of dentists and obtain services from a leading provider of dental benefits.
This is Chris Ventrola, Human Resources Director at ProSource. We're committed to providing top quality services for our customers. That's why we trust Delta Dental of Ohio to keep our employees happy and healthy so they can perform their best.
Delta Dental. Building healthy, smart, vibrant communities. DeltaDentalOH.com.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Rich. That's rich.
Rich.
Enter it now.
Rich. Sounds rich. What's up? 6:04. This is ESPN 1530. Mo Egger, thanks for listening today. We have to talk about a former Red who is doing really well elsewhere, and the questions that can help it bring up. Also, more from Mock Turtle Soup Day. Duke Tobin talk this afternoon. You'll hear what he had to say, and I'm going to come to the defense of Bob Costas for a question that he asked Joey Votto last night. If you haven't heard, Spencer Steer to the injured list. They're calling it a right wrist sprain. He came out mid at bat late in the ball game yesterday. That is bad. It's bad news for the team's short-term hopes. It's bad news, I think, if you were hoping that the Reds could flip Spencer Steer for something valuable, because even if he is, somebody you're trading for beyond 2026, I would imagine if you're trading for Spencer Steer, you still want something out of him this year, and now the chances of that are compromised. Although there is something I do wonder that we'll get to here in just a bit. Bengals have had a good offseason. You would agree, right? Like I said this last hour, if we were to hand out grades, I would go A-. And it's not just been the transactions. It's not just been who they've added. It's been the theme of the offseason, which over the last 2.5 months has been no controversy. I mean, it's remarkable. It's boring. It's boring from a content perspective. But if you're a fan of a team, you want as few roadblocks, as few impediments as possible to success. The idea is to get ready for the season with as few other things going on as possible. And Zach Taylor today said that he expects DJ Turner, Chase Brown, Dax Hill to all go through training camp, be full participants, even though there are questions about their contract extensions hovering over their arrivals at training camp. So it's been a good offseason. It's been a good, productive offseason, and it's been fun to enjoy the surge of optimism relative to where we were at the end of last season. At the end of last season, it felt like and sounded like so many Bengals seasons from the past, where folks are talking about not going to games anymore and wasting Joe Burrow and who's the next player who's going to want to leave. And the last 7 months have changed that seemingly almost entirely. But I'll tell you what, if I would have said to you 7 months ago today that we will be talking less than 48 hours outside of the first training camp practice for the 2026 season, and we would be discussing the Bengals moving forward with Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight playing linebacker, and an entire offseason will have come and gone, and there are no significant additions at that position in free agency, and there are no draft picks spent on that position, and we're basically going to talk about the same two dudes without any sort of addition, any sort of veteran safety net, let's be honest, you would have said there's no way. And I remember vividly sitting with Tony on the final Tony and Mo football show of the season after the final game of the year on that Monday, whenever it was in early January, and we were doing the Bengals to-do list. And I don't have it in front of me, but I remember find linebacker help was on the list. Find linebacker help did not mean that you totally move on from Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight. It just means find them help. That has not happened. And so it's one of the fascinating dynamics in play here. And maybe we start to find out about it as training camp starts. Maybe we don't find out about it until the actual games begin. But somebody like Zach Taylor has said a bunch of really nice things about Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight. He's talked about the confidence he has in those players, the confidence the organization has in those players, and that's fine. On some level, they have to have some confidence that those two guys could be better this coming season because they were both abysmal last year. And experience can be one of life's great teachers, and so there is a world where those guys are better, in part because of the lessons learned from the accumulation of experience. But come on, man. Do we really believe that everybody in the Bengals front office and all of the coaches were totally on board with not addressing the position hardly at all? Somebody wanted the Bengals to go get a linebacker. Maybe it was Zach. Maybe it was Al Golden. It could have been anybody. Somebody had to have wanted the Bengals to go get a linebacker. Somebody. There was a long list of them. Duke Tobin talked about the position at the combine. So did Al Golden. And yet, somebody else in the front office, maybe with ownership, decided, nah, we're good. I'm making it sound very black and white, making it sound very cut and dry, but I mean, come on. If they really, 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 really wanted a linebacker, they would have gotten one. There were a ton of them out there available. There are still a few of them out there available. There were a bunch of them there in the draft. Nobody said you couldn't take a linebacker. Somebody, ownership of the front office, decided we're good. Now, like, I think multiple things can be true. I don't believe that everybody was on board with that. You cannot convince me that if you canvassed everybody in a coaching or decision-making capacity, that they were all like, yeah, man, we're good at linebacker. We don't really need anybody else. Like that wasn't unanimous. That wasn't unanimous at all. Yet somebody obviously thought they were okay. They had money to spend. There was a list of guys available. They had draft picks. So how this plays out is either going to make whoever in the front office didn't want a linebacker out to look like a genius, or they're going to look like a total idiot. Call it what it is. By the way, again, you talk about like multiple truths. I can only speak for myself. It would have been great to see them add a player at that position, a veteran linebacker, because I think you could have done a couple of different things. You would have given Barrett and Demetrius like an established, proven veteran with pelts on the wall that they can learn from. You could have also created a really fun competition for one spot as starter between Demetrius and Barrett, who would have played next to the veteran that they would have acquired. A competition there is good. That said, I certainly do believe, again, it's possible to benefit from learning lessons during the accumulation of experience. Certainly do understand that last year those guys were set up to fail. Barrett has talked about that this offseason. It's hard. It's hard to not feel a little bit bad for those guys, right? Two rookies for 2/3 of the season playing next to each other once Logan Wilson was gone, and both seeing things and experiencing things they'd never experienced or seen on a football field before, and not having on the field, for the most part, a veteran guy to lean on. Those guys were not set up for success. And so, maybe this year they're better set up for success. Also, last year's defense had problems all over. We've heard and read a lot this offseason about force multipliers, where you get guys who play other positions and their impact could be felt elsewhere. Acquiring Dexter Lawrence and Jonathan Allen and having Brian Cook behind you could only make playing linebacker easier, but still. How this unfolds is going to be fascinating. How this unfolds during training camp, because do the practices begin? Do the preseason games begin? And, let's be honest, in the preseason last year, it was very evident the Bengals were due for a rough ride when it came to linebacker. You could see that in that Philadelphia game last preseason. So when the preseason games start, or even during practices, are there things that suggest that, we are going to be fine with those two linebackers? Or do you go, we got to scramble now. We got to go find somebody. And then when the games begin, if they are just riding and dying with Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight, how's that going to play out? And if it plays out poorly, oh boy, somebody's decision will have come back to haunt this team. Again, man, you could be stoked about the Bengals offseason and what they've done. I don't know how you're not. But man, wouldn't you be loved to be talking today about all the stuff they've done to the team, but also they got somebody else. Didn't have to be a current Pro Bowl player. Could be a guy who maybe his best years are behind him, but somebody, even to just teach those other two dudes that those other two guys could attach themselves to. How this plays out is going to be fascinating, and it could go a long way toward determining exactly how improved this defense is going to be. And if it doesn't work, it's something that somebody is going to have to answer for. If we are in this new era of front office transparency, I would imagine that there's at least a decent chance that Duke Tobin does another media availability at the end of this season. It's going to have some questions to answer about what they didn't do at linebacker. If what they didn't do at linebacker comes back to haunt them. Ideally, those players have learned, are better, benefit from a better environment around them, and at least give this team the kind of play where linebacker play is not noticed. And I certainly think there's a world where that happens. I think you're asking it to happen with two guys, which is more difficult than asking for it to happen with one. But it is remarkable, and I know this is not the first time we have visited this topic. It is remarkable relative to how a lot of us thought this offseason was going to go down, that here we are. First practice is 42 hours away. Nothing at linebacker. That is pretty amazing. 17 after 4. We got to come up with a poll question. When we do, it'll be thanks to a United Heartland Insurance. It'll be on Twitter at Mo Egger, United Heartland Insurance. Do yourself a favor this week. See what you're paying for insurance. See what you're paying for. And then go to uhins.com and see if you could pay less. See if you can get better policy. United Heartland Insurance, UHINS. So Spencer Steer is hurt. Maybe the Reds can't trade him now. And maybe that's okay. Next.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Southbound 71 at Western Row Road, there's an accident off on the left shoulder. One of those cars still in the median. Police tow truck there on scene working to clear. Now the right lane blocked off from a disabled vehicle that's southbound on State Route 741 over at Kings Mills Drive. I'm Eddie Zelek with traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples. All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
If you run a business, you've probably heard plenty of AI promises. But here's one thing we know for sure. When consumers hear an ad for your business, 90% want to know it's a real person talking. And that's what you'll get when you advertise with iHeart. We are guaranteed human. That means real voices, real connection, and trusted audio that helps businesses drive results. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices. Call 844-844-iHeart today. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. Listen, if you're not trying to save Mo money on insurance, that's between you and your bank account. But if you are, then you got to call my friends at United Heartland Insurance in partnership with Auto Owners. They've got competitive prices, professional service, and they're not going to make you answer 47 trick questions like you're on some weird game show. Just honest hometown insurance that actually saves you, you guessed it, Mo money. Get a quote today at uhins.com. That's uhins.com, and tell them Mo sent you for that Auto Owners hookup.
This summer, Valpak is helping you save smarter with offers from trusted local and national brands delivered right to your mailbox and inbox. From home improvement and dining to everyday services, Valpak connects families with savings they can actually use. Featured this month, Champion Windows. For over 70 years, Champion has designed and installed custom replacement windows made in the USA. Look for Champion Windows offers inside your Valpak blue envelope or visit valpak.com, where smart shoppers find savings and brands they trust.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Mo Egger here. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process. And listen, no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much cash you can get right now. 513-800-1550. That's 513-800-1550. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hosting August Outdoors? Ruud. Beat the heat with an AC from Ruud. Visit RuudCincinnati.com. RUUD Cincinnati.com.
From free agency to the draft and everything in between, we've got the Bengals off-season covered on ESPN 1530, the official home of the Bengals.
Brenneman and Jones on Baseball is about 30 minutes away. This is ESPN 1530. My name's Mo Egger. Spencer Steer to the injured list with a right wrist sprain coming out of the game yesterday. Like Spencer Steer, we talked about this a little bit last week. The most valuable players to trade are guys that have more than just a couple of months of team control. And so Spencer Steer could be considered one of those guys. JJ Bleday as well. But I guess it kind of depends on your view of 2027. Are the Reds better with Spencer Steer in 2027 or worse? Again, it depends on what you can maybe get. I read that he is one of the more highly coveted right-handed bats on the market, and so maybe there's a team that's willing to give you equal value or maybe more value in exchange for Spencer Steer. But if you were hoping that he would still be on the team in 2027, and you believed that on a contending team there's room for a guy like that who really hits well against lefties and can play any position and has home run power, then maybe something like this is a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Hate that he's hurt. I hate when any athlete gets hurt. I hate when any person gets hurt. But if you were among those, and I am one of them, who thought, you know what, maybe that's a guy that you hang on to. Maybe this makes them more likely to hang on to him. In fact, I would imagine it would be. And so this ends up being perhaps a slight blessing in disguise. We will see. Let's talk to other folks. The show works better when you participate. 513-749-1530 and 866-702-3776. Jason, thank you for your patience. You're on ESPN 1530. Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Mel?
Wonderful.
So I watched the entire broadcast last night with Votto.
Yeah.
And, it started out with Costas and him sitting at the desk. And, man, I thought Joey just looked super nervous. Like he's not – maybe the small talk, the minutia of baseball might not be up his alley.
Mm-hmm.
But when they put him down on the field, he was just outstanding.
So
when you have Joe Girardi asking you questions, you've got to – that means something to me, at least. I thought he did great.
Yeah, so I'll admit this. I saw the entire baseball game itself. I saw very little of the pregame. I did see the interaction where Bob Costas brought up to Joey Votto, some viewers maybe not being familiar with his work. That clip that I saw, I don't think Joey looked ill at ease, but he certainly sounded very, very comfortable sitting in the camera well. And just sounded like there was one point in the game where they wanted to do some silly bit about Bryce Harper and his toothpaste. And Joey Votto's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I want to watch Bryce Harper hit and talk about it. Which as a viewer, that's what I was here for. I want Joey Votto's commentary in real time on a future Hall of Famer in Bryce Harper. Give me that. I'm for the silly stuff at another juncture. Right there, Joey Votto directs the conversation toward the action on the field and a point he wanted to make, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of times I have Anthony Rizzo down there.
Yeah.
And he's not horrible, but it's more about jokes and more about how many times you strike out against this guy. It's like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, hitting in the phone booth, that kind of stuff.
And what it's like to hit certain pitchers, what it's like as a left-handed batter to hit certain left-handed pitchers. Give me some, and I played the clip last hour and I said it was technical without being over anybody's head. And I think that's so important, right? I think you hear sometimes football analysts are hesitant to go too in the weeds when it comes to X's and O's because they think it's going to be over someone's head. I think the best ones figure out a way to make it technical, give you some insight, but not talk over you. And I thought Joey demonstrated an ability to do that last night that for somebody new to the profession was extraordinarily impressive.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Hey, just real quick, I wanted to say, I've gone through some health issues here last couple months.
Oh, no.
Well, we're okay.
Okay.
But having 3 to 6 with you or with Chad and all that kind of stuff, helped out a lot. So I appreciate that.
Well, that's
I know you
what
were
we're
in
here
load
for.
management.
I was. Are you good now?
I'm a lot better now.
Okay. Well, that's all that matters. And that's what we're here for. Whether it's getting through a work day or, something else, that's why we do this.
Yeah, it's not always just about sports, dude.
I hear you, man. Well, hopefully you're back at it. We hear from you again, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bill. See you.
You got it. My colleague Lance McAllister was aghast at what Bob Costas asked Joey Votto last night in the pregame show. We will spend I'm going to stick up for Bob Costas next on ESPN 1530.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. There is one new accident on McMillan Street that's west of 71. Southbound 75 traffic is stop and go between the Western Hills Viaduct and Fort Washington Way, and you're looking at a 2-minute slowdown right now on southbound 70 between Martin Luther King Drive or 71. I'm Eddie Zellick with traffic.
This report is sponsored by Miami Valley Gaming.
3 more $25,000 cash prizes are up for grabs in July at Miami Valley Gaming.
Must be 21. Ohio Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-589-9966 or visit org.ohio.gov. Ready to take a break? Visit timeoutohio.com.
When your joints hurt and you've been told that you need surgery, you got to do your homework because remember, once a joint gets replaced, you're at the point of no return. There's no going back. So before you schedule surgery, how about considering a second opinion from QC Kinetics, whether it's pain from bone-on-bone arthritis or like a torn meniscus or just years of wear and tear. Surgery isn't the only conversation you should have. Talk to the medical team at QC Kinetics about how they use regenerative treatments to deliver relief to patients just like you here in Greater Cincinnati. You start with a medical evaluation, you review your history, look at any imaging and the actual source of pain. And if you're a good candidate, what they do is they'll concentrate tiny healing tools within your body right in the spot that's actually causing the pain. The idea here is to give you a real shot at holding off surgery or hopefully avoiding it altogether, which is why it makes sense to explore every single option before you make a decision that could change your life and involves downtime and missing a lot of work, stuff like that. So don't just accept that surgery is your only choice. Call QC Kinetics, get a second opinion so you know all your options. The conversation, consultation, totally free. So make the phone call, 513-847-0019, 513-847-0019, 513-847-0019.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hi, I'm Chris with Rolling Homes. Built in Cincinnati, built on trust. We help homeowners sell without the stress. No repairs, no fees, no stress. Just a fair cash offer, clearly explained, and a closing date that works for you. Whether you're relocating, dealing with an inherited home, or just ready for something simpler, we're here to help. Real people, real conversations, no pressure. One call, one offer, done. Call 513-513-CASH. That's 513-513-CASH. Call us today.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP. This message furnished by this station.
Window World is all about upfront pricing. Right now, get 10 Energy Star windows for just $77.90. That's $159 a month, or 8 for $62.72, just $128 a month.
For more details, visit WindowWorldCincinnati.com.
When you're hiring,
Have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
For a lot of workplaces, the work week doesn't end on Friday. That's why there's EasyCater, the best way to order food from favorite restaurants for your hardworking team, even on weekends. With EasyCater, you'll find great options for any group size and any shift, with tools to help meet dietary needs, stay on budget, and simplify expenses, all backed by our award-winning 24/7 support. EasyCater, your Monday through Sunday workplace food platform. Start an order for your weekend crew at easycater.com.
Cincinnati's sports station. This is ESPN 1530.
Sports headlines are a service of Kelsey Chevrolet, home of lifetime powertrain protection and guaranteed credit approval from their family to yours for life. KelseyChev.com. Spencer Steer to the injured list with wrist sprain. Came out of yesterday's game mid-at-bat. He'll be replaced on the roster by Ivan Johnson. Reds did win 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. They took 6 of 3 on the road trip. They start a 10-game homestand tonight. First of 3 against the Cleveland Guardians at GABP. Tonight's first pitch, 7:10 on 700 WLW. Chase Burns will throw against Slade Ciccone. Starting lineup for Cincinnati against the righty Ellie De La Cruz at short, Sal Stewart at first, J.J. Bleday in right, Suarez plays third, Lowe is DHing, Tyler Stevenson catches and bats 6, Dane Myers in center, Edwin Arroyo plays second base and bats 8th, TJ Friedel's in left field tonight. He will hit 9th. Bengals had their annual media luncheon today at the venue originally known as Paul Brown Stadium. Players report for training camp tomorrow. First workout is on Wednesday. We will be broadcasting from Bengals training camp Wednesday morning starting at 10 a.m. You'll hear from Duke Tobin in just a little bit. Plus, Brenneman and Jones on baseball. We were talking last segment about Joey Votto on NBC, and I didn't get a chance to see much of the pregame show, but I watched the entire game, and I actually think like Jason Benetti, the play-by-play guy for NBC, is terrific. I'm a huge John Kruk guy. He does Phillies games, so they had him in the booth. Joe Girardi, I think, is excellent. You add Joey Votto to the mix, and I think you have a really good group. But Votto made headlines, and for those of us in Cincinnati, I think there's a lot of us watching, maybe needed a Joey Votto fix or just wanted to see how he would do. Bob Costas asked him a question on the pregame show last night. Like my guy Lance on social media, and maybe he talks about this tonight on the Inside Pitch or on Extra Innings, but he was like, he was taken aback. He couldn't believe that Joey Votto was asked by Bob Costas, and I haven't seen clean video of this to play the audio, so I will read the question for you. Bob Costas, legendary broadcaster, asked Joey Votto, quote, as a guy who played for the Cincinnati Reds for 17 seasons, and during that time they were a contender occasionally but not often, do you feel as if on a national basis, as you make your debut with us here at NBC, there are some people who don't appreciate your career? For what it's worth, Joey's answer was, well, look, as any Philly fan knows, the Reds were no hit on this field against Roy Halladay, so they may know me, but not for the right reasons. So I'm going to stick up for Bob Costas for 2 different reasons. Number one, there are people in Cincinnati who don't appreciate Joey Votto's career. I mean, come on now. You and I both know. I have been on the air. I started my show the year Joey Votto made his debut. So I've been sitting in front of this microphone for the entirety of his time in the public forum, and certainly was here for the entirety of his time in Cincinnati as a player. In real time, there were people who didn't appreciate his career. I don't know that, with the exception of Andy Dalton, that I have spent more time talking about, analyzing, and more than anything, debating Joey Votto's career, or anybody's career, more than I have Joey Votto's. Bob Costas asked Joey Votto if he thinks there are viewers who didn't appreciate his career. If he was being honest, what he could have said is, appreciate my career. Then Cincinnati, there are people who don't appreciate my career. Now, not the majority, certainly not all. But are there some? If you've paid attention at all since Joey made his debut, clear through the 2010s, back when we were wondering, is all he want to do is just want to walk? How come he doesn't get more RBIs? Is he ever going to live up to the money? Oh, if they're not very good, it's because he's making too much money. Like, I mean, for the entirety of his time here, I could tell you that I often walked away wondering, why are there so many people who don't appreciate Joey Votto's career? That's in Cincinnati. So, of course, it's a fair question. Because if he's not appreciated in the city where he played his entire career by everybody, how's he going to be appreciated by casual baseball fans tuning into Sunday Night Baseball around the country? And I don't mean this to do, I don't do this to do a whole segment on Joey Votto and walks and OPS and news stats. But I mean, I'll tell you, even at the end when he retired, and I would mention him as a Hall of Famer, and I believe Joey is going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to be stunned if he doesn't get in on the first ballot, but I can't find many who have votes who would argue that he's got Hall of Fame bona fides. I'll get pushback to that. Not from people in Seattle or Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta or Miami, but in Cincinnati. When you mention him as an all-time great, you will find people here who will push back against that. Again, it's not the majority by any stretch. But I do know in real time, and I can't tell you how many times we talked about this, in real time, that while he was putting together MVP caliber seasons, I would often ask toward the end of shows where I took phone calls from people for 3 hours critical of Joey Votto. I would ask, like, are we not appreciating what we're seeing? I mean, forget viewers around the country. Not sure to this day there are folks in Cincinnati who appreciate what he did. And yeah, man, it didn't help that he rarely played for good teams. But come on, man. It's a totally fair question. Also, baseball fans tend to watch their team. A lot of baseball fans tend to watch their team so closely and with such tunnel vision that they tend maybe to miss out on some things that are happening beyond their favorite team. Like if I talk about how Yordan Alvarez with the Houston Astros is having a historically great season, might be the best hitter in baseball, is maybe on a Hall of Fame trajectory, there are folks who identify themselves as baseball fans who would claim to love the sport, who will go, wait a minute, what? Who? That's no criticism of anybody. I think it's the nature of how the sport is consumed. Like if I were to talk about how awesome Adam Wainwright's career was, or how great Zach Greinke's career was, if you're a baseball fan, you know those names. You might know that they were pretty good players, but you might not have a full appreciation of how good those guys were. And those guys were regular participants in the postseason. Like if I talked about, man, Nelson Cruz when he retired, long career, hit a ton of home runs. That guy was amazing. You'd go, whoa, how good was he? Like I think that's the nature of the sport. Then you factor into it, like Joey never got a chance to play in the World Series. Joey never got a chance to play in a league championship series. Joey rarely got the big stage of high-profile national television games. Certainly over the back end of his career, the final 10 years of his career, he was never really on that stage. Yeah, man, there are folks who tuned in last night that might know the name Joey Votto, might know that he played for the Reds, might know that he was pretty good, but might not have a full appreciation of his career because that's the nature of how people consume the sport. Joey Votto retired the same offseason as Elvis Andrus. Terrific player. Bet you didn't know he had more than 2,000 hits. Bet you didn't know he stole nearly 350 bases. Very good player. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but very good player. Would you have known that? Or Brandon Crawford retired that offseason. 2 World Series titles, elite defensive shortstop, career with the Cardinals, defensive. Played a longer amount of time, sure. But like oftentimes in this sport more than others, beyond the market where the guy plays, there is sometimes a deep lack of appreciation for how good a guy is. That's nobody's fault. I think it's a byproduct of the sport being more regional than national over the last decade and a half or 2 decades. So yeah, totally fair question. Totally fair question. Maybe, and hopefully what it does is there's somebody who didn't really know how good Joey Votto was, who sees him on TV, hears him on TV, hears him sound as insightful as he does, and goes, you know what, I'm going to go to Baseball Reference and look at his numbers, and then it's abundantly clear how good the guy was. But yeah, sure, I saw that people tweet about that last night, and my guy Lance and I agree on like 99% of things, but I saw him send a social media post, and I'm like, yeah, Lance, like, dude, there are people here, there are folks in your audience that you've spent time debating who I think you would conclude didn't appreciate Joey Votto's career. And yeah, man, a lot of folks tuning in nationally hear the name Joey Votto, know the name Joey Votto, probably really didn't see him play and probably really don't know how good he was. Because you could say the same thing about a lot of guys who played for other teams here. 4:45, Duke Tobin talk today. You'll hear that next. Then Brendan and Jones on baseball on ESPN 1530.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. There is one new accident on McMillan Street that's west of 71. Southbound 75 traffic is stop and go between the Western Hills Viaduct and Fort Washington Way. You're looking at a 2-minute slowdown right now on southbound 71 between Martin Luther King Drive and 471. I'm Eddie Zelek with traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples. All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Summer's a great time to upgrade with Gilkey Windows. For a limited time, we're offering buy one, get one, 40% off. That's buy one window or door, getting the next at 40% off. Give us a call today at 877-7-GILKEY. That's 877-7-GILKEY.
I'm Chris with Rolling Homes. Built in Cincinnati, built on trust. Selling your home doesn't have to be complicated. No repairs, no fees, no stress. Just a simple process, a fair cash offer, and a timeline that works for you. We'll walk you through everything, and if it's not a right fit, we'll tell you. No pressure, just options. One call, one offer, done. Call 513-513-CASH. That's 513-513-CASH. Rolling Homes. Call us today and see how easy selling your home can be.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
From the Schmidt Cooling Tempstar Weather Center, here's your forecast.
Scattered storms move in this afternoon and this evening, some of which could turn severe. Large hail, damaging wind gusts, isolated tornado, and flash flooding will all have to be monitored for on this 9/1 warning weather alert day. Scattered storms continue overnight, and then tomorrow we're drying out. We'll see highs in the mid-80s. Even humidity drops during the day with a partly cloudy sky. I'm Jennifer Ketchmark from the Mo Edgar Show on ESPN 1530, Cincinnati's sports station.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Why pay full price when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual, and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey Alexa, what's going on in baseball?
Getting ESPN 1530 from iHeartRadio.
Ohio Cup this week. That's what's happening in baseball. Guardians won 2 of the first 3 this year in Cleveland, and so the thing will be settled. Reds need to win 2 out of 3. If they sweep, they win the Ohio Cup. If it's a tie, if the Reds win 2 out of 3, I don't know. Let's be honest, who cares? Let's hear from Duke Tobin. It was a mock turtle soup day, Bengals media luncheon day. Zach Taylor, we had that audio for you. Now here's Duke Tobin talking about expectations for 2026.
To win every game we line up and play. That's our expectation, period. It's about coming together as a team, maximizing every player we have with what we do with them, and winning the game. That's our expectation. Job one is coming together as a team and making sure everyone is on the same page and executing at their highest level they can execute within the scheme that we're putting in front of them. So that's the work that's going in right now. But our expectations are incredibly high.
There you go. Duke Tobin's expectations are incredibly high. Your expectations are also incredibly high, and, well, so are mine. Here is a question that Duke Tobin answered about free agency.
I'm not going to talk about any players that aren't here, but do we look at the free agent market? We look at it every day, every single day. We're always looking at what opportunities we have. We had a lot of really good opportunities come to us this year, and what the personnel department, what the ownership did is respond and make those opportunities realities. So we're always looking at opportunities. Is there something coming around the plate tomorrow? No, but there might be. Who knows? We're always going to judge what we can do to be better within the restrictions we have. You know, there are restrictions in this league. There are financial and cap restrictions that are in this league that we have to work through not only this year, but next year and the year after that. And so all of that is a part of the puzzle. But are we looking to improve the team? We're always looking to improve the team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe not so much players who are out there right now, but you can make a case. Cut down day, they're going to be in the market for a swing tackle. Cut down day, they're going to be in the market for cornerback depth, maybe a primary slot guy, and obviously, certainly, that is going to be a large focus of the linebacker conversation as training camp unfolds. We got more to get to in the 5 o'clock hour. 513-749-1530. Spencer Steer is going to be out for a while. That is no good. It could impact what the Reds do at the trade deadline. And more on the Bengals as we inch closer to training camp on Wednesday. But right now, it's time for Brenneman and Jones on baseball.
Men, erectile dysfunction can affect much more than just your sex life. It can create stress in relationships, leading to feelings of anxiety or embarrassment, and impact your overall confidence and well-being. This is Jeff. Solutions that fit their individual needs. ED is a frustrating condition, and many men suffer years without seeking treatment. But the good news is that if you're like most men, we have the answer. Our licensed medical providers will evaluate your specific medical situation and recommend a plan designed for you. And these advanced medical therapies work, with treatments having success rate of 50%, which means you and the one you love can have great sex again without the fear and worry of ED. You can even last up to an hour or more, and you may just find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. You know, there's lots of places where you could buy a cigar, but there's only one OTR Cigars. It's a different type of cigar store. In fact, I'd call OTR Cigars more of a community than anything else. A place to not only enjoy a cigar, but relax with friends you know and maybe friends you haven't met yet. You'll love the cigars, but you're going to love the people you meet even more at OTR Cigars. Located on Elm Street next to Finley Market. Learn more at otrcigars.com.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
From the ESPN 1530 studio, built on the financial foundation of Omega Wealth Private Capital, where wise money matters.
United Dairy Farmers presents Brenneman and Jones on Baseball. Brought to you in part by Encore Technologies on ESPN 1530.
You remember the show we did a couple of weeks ago that dealt with the World Cup. And by the way, while we're on that subject briefly, congratulations to Spain. I happened to watch a lot of that game, and it was incredibly exciting.
There was one goal scored. So
I know that, but
down.
it was still exciting.
Okay.
It was still exciting.
Okay.
Something that you and I took away from whatever time we spent watching games in the World Cup, periodically, off and on, there's one thing that stood out to you and me, because you brought it up before I had a chance of bringing it up to you, and that is 2 words: hydration break.
Very interesting.
The hell, this hydration break.
Well, let me just say what they used, and if you really know something about soccer and followed it like I have, they're really water cannons, and they serve 2 purposes.
They're what?
They're water cannons. One, the hydration break to cool the players, and the other to settle down the unruly, out-of-control soccer fans, because, you know, they're known for riots. It's the only sport where you go to the event and there's a riot that breaks out. So, yeah, you can go to downtown at Paul Brown Stadium and see fights breaking out in the stands and all that kind of stuff. Actually, go to Dodger Stadium when the Dodgers play the Giants. But yeah, hydration break.
I was stunned.
That?
Now, is that just a deal that's implemented in international play, or does that happen down here at TQL Stadium when they play?
I don't know. I mean, these soccer players, they trip over a blade of grass, sit there for 5 minutes. I played soccer that one year. Remember, I averaged 7 goals. Remember, they made my foot tied up as a flamingo?
Yeah.
Whatever just happened to oranges and Gatorade? Now they've got these cannons. You know where they need it?
Tell me.
Baseball.
Wait, stop right there. We'll talk about it when we come back in just a moment.
Supplying the tri-state with propane for over 75 years, Auxure Gas is constantly striving for the best pricing and high standards of safety, service, and reliability. Call Auxure Gas today at 513-724-7700 or online at auxuregas.com.
Peach season is here at UDF, but it won't last long. Right now, buy 2 large cartons of UDF peach ice cream for just $10. You're gonna want to stock up. Peach ice cream is back at United Dairy Farmers for a limited time.
Looking for IT solutions that deliver results? Encore Technologies has you covered. We specialize in secure data management, cloud services, and innovative IT strategies tailored to your business needs. Our team of experts works tirelessly to ensure your technology infrastructure is robust and reliable. Visit Encore.tech to learn more about our comprehensive IT services. Encore Technologies driving your business forward with cutting-edge solutions. Let's hit it out of the park together. Hydration break in soccer, whether it be only international play or whether it be in professional play here in this country, we're not that locked into what the rules are. You think baseball needs a hydration break?
Listen, go to St. Louis in August. And I love Busch Stadium, but I'm telling you, it gets so hot there, you could fry an egg.
Wait a minute, you're sitting on your butt in the dugout half the time. You want to get hydrated, sit there and drink 2 16-ounce bottles of water.
Do you know what it's like to run on and off the field? And I have to admit, I did spend a lot of time on the bench, but it got hot there. And Synergy, it got hot on that turf, Marty.
That's your answer.
That's what I'm going with.
Then we finished.
Sometimes a fresh start begins with a new address. BRG Apartments makes it easy to find a place you'll be proud to call home. Explore available apartments today at brgapartments.com. That's brgapartments.com.
All across America.
Celebrate America in the roomy, built in the USA Toyota Grand Highlander. Now through August 3rd, get 5.99 APR financing on any new 26 Grand Highlander or Grand Highlander Hybrid with approved credit through TFS. Or take advantage of a customized lease just for you. And every new Toyota comes with no-cost maintenance included. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
You've been listening to Brenneman and Jones on Baseball, presented by United Dairy Farmers, brought to you in part by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers on ESPN 1530.
This is 1530 WCKY, the 50,000-watt orange and black home of the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's ESPN 1530.
Sports Center. I'm Ed Benkin. The wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot Sunday night in her Virginia home. Police have charged the couple's 27-year-old son, Elijah. Mia Bieniemy is in stable condition, remains hospitalized. Eric Bieniemy has left the Chiefs camp, and Coach Andy Reid says there is no timetable for Bieniemy's return. One of the Chiefs' division rivals is the Raiders, who are rebuilding with rookie quarterback Fernando Mendoza, and he talked about his current quarterback competition with Kirk Cousins.
It's going to be competing with each other, not competing against each other. Competing with each other, pushing each other to be the best quarterback we can possibly be for the Las Vegas Raiders and to enable for them to win as many games as possible.
News from Colts camp, revealed on the Pat McAfee show. Quarterback Daniel Jones says he's been cleared to practice for the start of training camp. Meanwhile, Colts receiver Alec Pierce has been placed on the team's PUP list. North Carolina football general manager Michael Lombardi has been placed on paid administrative leave for the university. No decision for the school, no details given by the school. The decision sent from a human resources complaint. Baseball, top of the line, Rangers 7, Mariners 2.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Southbound 7175 after Donaldson Road, the right lane's blocked off. That's from a disabled vehicle. Also a crash on eastbound 275 after Lebanon Road. That's on the right shoulder. Another disabled vehicle on Los Santaville Avenue. That's at Montgomery Road, blocking the left turn lane. I'm Eddie Zellick with traffic.
If you run a business, you know the value of trust. It's what keeps your customers coming back. And it's what you get when you advertise with iHeart. More than 75% of listeners consider iHeart hosts their friends and trust their recommendations. Now take that trusted influence and combine it with iHeart's massive reach and scale, and you've got the formula for growing your business. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
When employers like 700 WLW and Cintas choose Delta Dental of Ohio, employees can access the nation's largest selection of individually contracted dentists, and they get the care they need from the dentist they prefer.
This is Jennifer Mueller, Vice President of Human Resources at Cintas. We believe in offering our employees the best in benefits, and that's why we offer Delta Dental coverage.
Delta Dental, building healthy, smart, vibrant communities for all. DeltaDentalOH.com.
Hosting August Outdoors? Rude. Beat the heat with an AC from Rude. Visit RudeCincinnati.com. RUUD Cincinnati.com.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. New.
No.
That's new.
No.
Enter it now.
No.
Want to know who's turning heads at Bengals training camp?
Yes.
We've got you covered
Cool.
on the official home of the Bengals, ESPN 1530, Cincinnati Sports Station.
There you go. Thank you. This is ESPN 1530. I'm Mo Egger. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you had a great weekend. Hopefully your Monday is going well. Thank you so much for making us a part of it. On the week that training camp starts, training camp begins on Wednesday. Players report tomorrow. Mock Turtle Soup Day today. Daner's with us tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We are stoked for that. Broadcasting from training camp on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We are stoked for that. The key word is stoked. Not stoked about what's happening with Spencer Steer. We'll jump back into the Bengals here in just a bit. So the Reds had a good road trip. Do what you want with it. They win 6 out of 9. They win all 3 series. They win yesterday afternoon. They got a very well-pitched game from Andrew Abbott and a big 10th inning highlighted by Sal Stewart. Watching Sal Stewart bat with 2 strikes, watching Sal Stewart bat in situations like the one he came up in yesterday, guy on third, nobody out. You watch a hitter who looks like he's well beyond his years. It is something to watch. It's fun to watch. The Reds this week were fun to watch. Monday against Seattle notwithstanding. Unfortunately, there is some bad news. Spencer Steer late in the game yesterday came out mid at bat with a hand issue. They were looking at his hand, and the diagnosis has him on the injured list. I'm going to read from our guy, Charlie Goldsmith, who writes that Spencer Steer is going to be in a splint for the next 2 weeks. And they hope that with rest and treatment, he'll heal and surgery is not going to be needed. It is a partial tear of a sheath in his wrist. The sheath, I guess, is what protects the tendon. And so the idea is he's in the splint for a couple of weeks. Hopefully it heals during that time. And if he's made the right amount of progress, he could start to work back. Ideally, they don't have surgery. It doesn't feel like they're ruling that out, but it's not a part of the plan for now. If they did surgery, this is to no surprise to anybody, he would be out for the rest of the year. So they're going to see if this can be something that heals first. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not you have faith that this process is going to work. I'm not going to comment on the Reds medical staff because I think such criticisms are usually overblown. Here's what we know. Spencer Steer is a guy that the Reds could trade. They still can trade him. Like, you can still trade a guy when he's on the injured list, and a team might still be interested and maybe makes a wager on he heals and he's back. He can still help us for the final 4 weeks or the final 6 weeks, or hell, if we make the postseason, we can get Spencer Steer. It's also worth mentioning Spencer Steer is under team control for 2027 and 2028. So you could trade for Spencer Steer and hope that he helps you at some point this year, but know that you've got him in 2028 and 2029. I'm sorry, in 2027 and 2028. Getting ahead of myself. He's still just 28 years old. He has a lot of versatility. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He is raking this year against left-handed pitchers. Spencer Steer is a good player. So maybe he could still be traded. I'm going to guess that the injury scares at least some teams off who are looking at this from a simple perspective. What makes me better right now? And if I only have a handful of chips to deal, am I really trading for one? If I'm contending for a guy right now, I don't know if that dude's going to be able to help me this year. Would like to have him next year. Would like to have him 2 years from now. But I need guys who can help me win here and now. And right now he's on the injured list and they're acknowledging surgery is at least a possibility. Yeah, hard pass on that. So maybe there's two different ways of looking at this. Maybe from one perspective, if you viewed the deadline as something they need to use in order to accumulate as much talent from outside as possible, well, this is maybe a blow. Buster Olney writes that Spencer Steer is one of the more coveted right-handed hitters at the trade deadline. Coveted. Now, coveted is relative. There are some things I think you could say I covet, but I'm not going to pay top dollar for. I would be surprised if anybody gave you their best prospect or an overwhelming haul of players in exchange for Spencer Steer, but coveted, right? It is a little bit of a seller's market. Who knows how many right-handed hitters are going to be, for the taking. And so maybe this cuts into the Reds' ability to get the best possible return at the trade deadline. They have a lot of guys who are 2-month rentals. They don't have a lot of guys like Spencer Steer, don't have a lot of guys like J.J. Bleday, players that you get for the rest of this year, but you also get beyond this year. Those are the most valuable trade chips. And so this is potentially, you could argue, pretty successfully, a blow for the Reds' chances of maximizing the value of their possible trade chips at the trade deadline. You could also look at it a different way. And I'll be honest with you. I could look at this from both perspectives. The one that I just outlined or the one that I'll outline right now, and that's cool. I hate that Spencer Steer is hurt. Him not being available certainly hurts the team in the short term, but I kind of want him here next year. Like, I'm not trying to make him out to be a player who's better than he is. He's not an all-star. He's not some superstar. He's not a guy that if he was on the open market would be one of the higher price free agents out there, but he does have value. He is a pretty reliable, like 20 plus homer a year guy. If he plays the full season this year, he's probably going to crack more than 20. He's hit 20 or more in each of his first 3 full big league seasons. He has usually been very durable. He has played in no fewer than 146 games in a season over the course of his first 3 games. He had played in every game this year, so this obviously ends that for a while, but he's got a track record of durability. You kind of know what he is. He is pretty consistent in terms of power. He's very good batting against left-handed pitching. He could also play everywhere. Like Spencer Steer in his big league career, albeit at some places better than others and at some places more than others, he has played all 3 outfield positions. He has played all 4 infield positions. Now, he's a terrific defensive first baseman. He's maybe not an ideal shortstop, but I think you could feel like, you know what, if we have to play him there, we can play him there and we're going to be okay. I don't know, man. To me, yes, that probably has a lot of value on the open market. And absolutely prior to the injury, the Reds should have made him available, and it sounds like they were, and maybe they were in active negotiations for a Spencer Steer trade, and maybe those will continue, and maybe those will stop. But I think it's fair to look at it from this perspective. Like, it's okay if Spencer Steer is on the team in 2027. I got a guy who can play anywhere. I got a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Maybe he's better served being a role player, right? Like maybe his most ideal role is not starting every single game. But super subs can help a team a long way. They can make a lot of money. Spencer Steer will probably get a pay raise in arbitration this offseason. I don't know, man. Like I kind of talked about this a little bit last week. I don't know that it's that bad of an idea if you think you can build a contending team in 2027 to have a guy like that on your team. And so maybe this keeps the Reds from doing something that they maybe shouldn't do. I don't know. I'm not telling you he should be untouchable. If Spencer Steer gets traded, there's certainly a world where that makes the Reds better in the long term. But I don't know, man. If the worst case scenario is now Spencer Steer is going to be on the team next year, okay. Oh, and by the way, maybe he comes back. And maybe he comes back and the Reds haven't traded him and he plays the last month, next 6 weeks, proves that he's healthy. You could still trade him this offseason. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much value he's going to have on the open market. He is going to get a pay raise next year. He's making $4 million this season. I do know there are some teams that will only pay so much for a super sub. I don't know that I would be in a rush to trade him, but I can certainly understand why the Reds would trade him. Not be in a rush, but would. And so maybe this complicates that. Maybe this makes it more likely they keep him. Maybe this makes it more likely they can't take advantage of some abundance of players they would have gotten in return. But if the worst case scenario for Spencer Steer for the Reds is he's on their team next season, okay. Not as their best player by any stretch. That won't happen. Maybe not as a guy who starts 145 games at one position. But you mean to tell me if you're trying to build the best possible team next year, if he is your ninth guy who plays some first, some second, some left, like, dude, those guys have value. And maybe that value would have been honored or replicated at the trade deadline, and now we're not going to know. But if other teams value Spencer Steer for 2028 and 2027 and for the rest of this year, then why shouldn't the Reds? 5:15 ESPN 1530. Today was a mock turtle soup day, Bengals annual media luncheon. I don't know. We've played some audio. I don't know that anything of any major significance was said today by the folks who spoke. We'll run some more Zach Taylor audio for you a little bit later on. It's just sort of that last milepost you hit where it's like, all right, the writers have their mock turtle soup and the rest of us can get set for training camp, which starts on Wednesday. I think today, though, might have been like the last public passing of the torch of the Bengals from Mike Brown to Katie and other members of the family. And I will admit, for reasons I can't necessarily articulate, I'm not entirely comfortable talking about this. But Mike Brown's 91 years old. Today, the Bengals did not make him available in years past. This is the only time that he talks. He's a 91-year-old man. By all accounts, he has most of his faculties. He's still at work every day. He's still involved in team decision-making. He's going to be at training camp practice. He still is the guy at the top of the flow chart organizationally, and all of that is fine. I could certainly understand why he or the people who care about him would have hesitancy to put him in front of cameras and microphones. He's not great at hearing anymore at this age. And so maybe he's going to be made available in perhaps a more controlled setting. I don't know. But over the last couple of years, when the writers have gone to owners' meetings, or even this year when nobody spoke at the owners' meetings and then they had an availability a few weeks later, the person available was Katie Blackburn. It's not that unlike Phil Castellini in recent years. Bob Castellini is still with us. And one thing I hate doing is talking about people and their age. Like I don't know. I just don't like it because you can make people out to seem senile or like they don't have all their faculties. And that's not, I mean, the reality is for a lot of folks, when you get to a certain age, maybe talking off the cuff, maybe talking in a less controlled environment, that's not what's best for you, and it's not best for the organization that you represent or that you own. And so I don't know. I don't know. Mike Brown, by all accounts, is in awesome health, and I'm not even going to attempt to go down the road of like discussing that. But this is a very clumsy way of me saying that at 91 years old, I don't expect Mike Brown to be talking publicly all that often, if at all. And I'm okay with that. As long as there are regular availabilities for the people who cover the team closely. And by regular, I would prefer twice a year. I answered a question this offseason about what I would do if I was baseball commissioner, and I had a long list of items, but one of them is I would make team ownership be available to credentialed members of the media once during the season and once in the offseason. That will never happen. I think it would be awesome if ownership of every team would be available more. I don't expect, if that happens, for that person to be Mike Brown, because in recent years it hasn't been. And so him not talking today was just, I don't know, further confirmation that the person speaking on behalf of ownership is the person who's next in line, and that's Katie, and that's totally okay. So there you go. 19 after 5 o'clock. 513-749-1530 is the phone number. Clock is ticking on Joe Burrow next.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Southbound 7175 after Donaldson Road, the right lane's blocked off. That's from a disabled vehicle. Also a crash on eastbound 275 after Lebanon Road. That's on the right shoulder. Another disabled vehicle on Los Santoville Avenue. That's at Montgomery Road, blocking the left turn lane. I'm Eddie Zellick with traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
You know, when your joints hurt and you've been told that you need surgery, you got to do your homework, because remember, once a joint gets replaced, you're at the point of no return. There's no going back. So before you schedule surgery, how about considering a second opinion from QC Kinetics? Whether it's pain from bone-on-bone arthritis or like a torn meniscus or just years of wear and tear, surgery isn't the only conversation you should have. Talk to the medical team at QC Kinetics about how they use regenerative treatments to deliver relief to patients just like you here in Greater Cincinnati. You start with a medical evaluation, you review your history, look at any imaging and the actual source of pain. And if you're a good candidate, what they do is they'll concentrate tiny healing tools within your body right in the spot that's actually causing the pain. The idea here is to give you a real shot at holding off surgery or hopefully avoiding it altogether, which is why it makes sense to explore every single option before you make a decision that could change your life and involves downtime and missing a lot of work, stuff like that. So don't just accept that surgery is your only choice. Call QC Kinetics, get a second opinion so you know all your options. The conversation, consultation, totally free. So make the phone call, 513-847-0019, 513-847-0019, 513-847-0019. 0019.
Hit the gas on your summer with bonus bucks.
Yeah! Are you serious?
Imagine $1,000 and free gas in your tank.
Yeah, it's gonna take every penny to fill up my RV.
The winning happens every weekday.
Red Key Express is hiring drivers. Freight, logistics, and student transportation opportunities are available. We're looking for dependable people who care about safety and service. Join a local team that's driven by excellence. Apply at redkeyexpress.com/drive.
If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Mo Egger here. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much cash you can get right now. 513-800-1550. That's 513-800-1550. LoanPronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
You have a free ticket to Cincinnati's On Point Music Festival, August 7th and 8th at Sawyer Point. Rock out to phenomenal regional alt, folk, indie, punk, and bluegrass bands. Experience electrifying performances from the Tillers, St. Seneca, Trauma, Illinois, Silmar, Maria Corelli, and more. Between sets, grab delicious eats and drinks, glide on the roller skating rink, or try your hand at pickleball. Visit CincinnatiParks.com for the full music lineup. We'll see you rocking for free at the On Point Music Festival, August 7th and 8th.
When employers like iHeart and ProSource choose Delta Dental of Ohio, employees can access top quality care from a large nationwide network of dentists and obtain services from a leading provider of dental benefits.
This is Chris Ventrola, Human Resources Director at ProSource. We're committed to providing top quality services for our customers. That's why we trust Delta Dental of Ohio to keep our employees happy and healthy so they can perform their best.
Delta Dental, building healthy, smart, vibrant communities. DeltaDentalOH.com.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry nonstop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Speeds to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
WCKY Cincinnati, an iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human. ESPN 1530.
iHeart Radio. 25 after 5. This is ESPN 1530. Thanks for listening to our show today. 513-749-1530 is our phone number. 866-702-3776. We have folks waiting. We'll get to in just a bit. Bengals training camp on Wednesday. The practices this week, and I have a few that are later in the afternoon as we get toward the back end of training camp. Friday night practice inside the stadium next week. But the 3 practices this week are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. These 3 are all open to the public. We will be there broadcasting. Tony Pike and I from 10 till 12 each of those 3 days. And then we continue with our normal shows. Like there's no interruption. Tony stays for Cincy 360 and does it from Bengals training camp. I drive here and do my show 3 to 6 from in studio. So busy days, but a lot of fun. I had something else I was going to mention and I lost it. Fortunately, we have Tyler to talk. Tyler, you're on ESPN 1530. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Hey, Mo. I just had a quick thought about Spencer Steer.
I think I like him more than some people. I'm pretty high on him.
Likewise.
And I know the Reds really value his versatility. But I actually think that he would fit really well, specifically offensively, as a second baseman, possibly even every day. And I think if you look at his career, like, he struggled against righties this year, but really his production for his career is pretty even. And like, if you look at defensively what the Giants have been able to do with like Luis Arraez this year, and the Pirates with Brandon Lau, I just think it would be worth seeing with how much McClain has struggled and Arroyo. So I'm definitely a Steer fan, but I don't expect them to do that because they seem to love his versatility and his willingness to do it. But yeah, that's all.
I guess what I would wonder along with that, Tyler, thanks so much. What I would wonder with that is, what does Matt McClain do between now and the end of the year? Right? Like, we can't do this again this coming spring, this coming winter, assuming there's a spring training next year, wondering if he's going to go back to being the player he was in 2023, or penciling him in with black magic marker to be the starting second baseman, which is certainly what they did in 2025. And I kind of feel like it's what they did in 2026. And look, Matt McClain had a great spring. And so, you know, we all sort of bought in back in March, like, all right, he's back. He's back to being the guy he was in 23. Last year was an outlier. And this year it's kind of been proven that it wasn't. So he has 2 months, assuming he comes back here soon. And maybe by the end of the week he is back. But like, it's kind of put up or shut up time. And then it's, how do you feel about Edwin Arroyo? Edwin has swung the bat a little bit better recently. For what it's worth, if you love bunts, he laid down a beautiful bunt in the 10th inning yesterday afternoon. And I didn't quibble too much with the strategy, but he has often looked overmatched. He's had some really cool moments in the field, and then he's had some moments in the field where it looks like he's wearing his glove on his wrong hand. So you kind of have to figure out, like, all right, what are you doing at second base? Matt McClain, Edwin Arroyo, and then if Spencer Steer is kind of your fallback, that's okay. Understanding if you've got him in your back pocket as a fallback to play second base, and McClain turns it on over the final 2 months of the season, or you still feel like Edwin Arroyo should have a chance to earn the starting second baseman job, fine. Because Spencer Steer can still play any number of positions. Also, maybe how things go with Ke'Bryan Hayes the rest of the year factor into this. And Ke'Bryan Hayes hit a home run yesterday. He was also pinch hit for in the 10th inning, and understandably so. But it's like, I don't know what I got at third. Well, I have a feeling we know what they have at third base, but at the end of the season, there could be a question about who's going to play third base. Could be a question about what you're going to do at second base. Maybe there's a ripple effect that impacts first base. It's not bad to have a guy who could play multiple outfield positions. I'm just, you kind of be nice to have a guy like Spencer Steer in your back pocket to go, look, at the very least, he's our third baseman. Maybe we could do better, but if not, we got Spencer Steer. And at second base, maybe Edwin Arroyo beats him out. But if not, having Spencer Steer is okay. And if maybe down the road we decide, because of how things go with Ke'Bryan Hayes, you know what, we're going to play Sal Stewart at third, then I've got a very good defensive first baseman in Spencer's. A guy like that is nice to have in your back pocket. And so I'm not opposed to the idea of him being your starting second baseman, but what you would love is for somebody else to be better, and then cool, Spencer Steer can still play it, but he could also be used elsewhere. 29 away from 6 o'clock. Sports headlines and more on the Bengals next.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530. Traffic.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, the UC Health Women's Sports Medicine Program provides specialized care for female athletes at all levels. Schedule an appointment online at uchealth.com. Down to only one accident, that's southbound 75 at Western Avenue. That crash moved off onto the right shoulder. Traffic stop and go, though, through that area between the Western Hills Viaduct and Fort Washington Way, up to a 10-minute delay. Northbound 71, slow traffic Ridge to Stewart. I'm Eddie Zelek with traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast. This is Monty Montgomery, producer of Our American Stories. In our next episode, Bill Corum, former mob muscle in Kansas City, shares the story of his miraculous redemption. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
This summer, Valpak is helping you save smarter with offers from trusted local and national brands delivered right to your mailbox and inbox. From home improvement and dining to everyday services, Valpak connects families with savings they can actually use. Featured this month, Champion Windows. For over 70 years, Champion has designed and installed custom replacement windows made in the USA. Look for Champion Windows offers inside your Valpak blue envelope or visit valpak.com, where smart shoppers find savings and brands they trust.
QC Kinetics helps active people stay active. People like David Boardman, police officer, competitive athlete, and gym owner who trains hard almost every day.
My body's taken a lot of abuse over the years. I've had multiple knee surgeries on both of my knees. I could barely run a mile prior to going to QC Kinetics. Doctors have all told me, hey, you are going to need knee replacements.
But QC Kinetics gave David great news.
We're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
And after David's regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics?
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week. I really wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for QC Kinetics.
From knee pain to Ironman training.
It's a no-brainer.
Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics to book your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 513-847-0019. That's 513-847-0019. 513-847-0019.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Cincinnati, your summer starts at the Cincinnati Open. From August 8th through the 23rd, come experience world-class tennis, live entertainment, incredible food and drinks, and non-stop energy across our transformed campus. The best part, passes and tickets are available throughout the tournament, giving you access to matches, practice courts, fan experiences, and more. Get tickets now at CincinnatiOpen.com.
Men, if your energy is down, your workouts aren't producing results, you're gaining stubborn weight, losing muscle, sleeping poorly, or just not feeling like yourself anymore, it may be more than just aging. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. Our low-T and body composition treatments are designed to help men regain energy, improve focus, sleep better, build lean muscle, reduce unwanted fat, and restore confidence both in and out of the gym. At Tri-State Men's Health, we specialize in helping men optimize their health, performance, and vitality. Using personalized medical treatments tailored to your health and goals, many men begin noticing improvements in energy, mental clarity, recovery, motivation, libido, and overall body composition within just a few weeks. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, PSA and T-test, and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Agent therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. Lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the station.
From position battles to breakout players, follow Bengals training camp as it happens on ESPN 1530, Cincinnati Sports Station.
Sports headlines are a service of Kelsey Chevrolet, home of powertrain protection and guaranteed credit approval. From their family to yours for life. KelseyChev.com. Reds and Guardians, first of a 10-game homestand for Cincinnati. The resumption of the Ohio Cub Series. 7:10 tonight's first pitch, 700 WLW. Chase Burns and Slade Ciccone on the hill. Night game tonight, night game tomorrow, night game on Wednesday. For what it's worth, Pirates here on Thursday, night game on Thursday, night game on Friday with an earlier first pitch time of 6:10 because of the post-game Marshmallow concert. I'll give you the starting lineup. Are you ready? Stand by. Just as I hit post on a United Heartland Insurance poll question. Against righty Slade Ciccone tonight, Cincinnati will send Ellie De La Cruz up first because he's batting leadoff, and they don't want to bat out of order. Sal Stewart plays first, J.J. Bleday in right, Eugenio Suarez at third base, Nathaniel Lowe DHs, Tyler Stevenson catches, Dane Myers in center, who I may or may not have referred to as Will Myers last hour. My apologies to Dane. Arroyo's at second, TJ Friedel in left field. Spencer Steer goes on the 10-day injured list with a right wrist sprain. Ivan Johnson is up from Louisville. Welcome back, Ivan. Reading from our guy, Charlie Goldsmith, the specifics about Spencer Steer is he's got a sheath tear. It's not funny. But sheath, it's a partial tear of the sheath in his wrist, which is what protects the tendon. We got to get one of the experts from Ortho Cincy on to talk sheath. Bengals with their annual media luncheon today. Players report tomorrow, and the first practice is on Wednesday. Clock is ticking. Like, you can get mad at me for saying this. When the Bengals lost the Super Bowl, there was, I think we had a lot of different, most of us had a mixture of feelings, a combination of feelings. I certainly did. Because you're lamenting the missed opportunity. There's gratitude for the season, the opportunity to see the Bengals play in a Super Bowl. But I think more than anything, excitement for the future. Like, you can acknowledge you're never guaranteed another opportunity. You got to take advantage because you never know when one is going to come up again. And a lot of us did that. But I think at the time there was a real sense of like, all right, this doesn't have to be the last time. This franchise is in a good place. The Burrow effect is taking shape. Like they have a good chance of going back. 4 years later, they haven't been back. And so, like, you can't look at it through the same lens. Like, a lot of folks, you and I both know this. When the Bengals come up, it's all about Burrow. Is he going to want out? Is he going to try to force the Bengals' hand? And you and I have listened to him this offseason. We've heard how energized he sounds. We've heard how rejuvenated he sounds. He's a lot like you and I. I'm rejuvenated. I'm more interested now than I was at the end of the season. I'm certainly more excited. And I would imagine if you're a Bengals fan, you feel the exact same way. But I think it's okay to look at it from this perspective too. Like, the clock is ticking. They're only going to get so many Joe Burrow prime seasons. This is one of them. He turns 30 during the season this year. He's only under contract for 3 more seasons after this one. Every year they don't win makes it more likely they don't win during the Burrow era. And I think the only way most of us are going to look at the Burrow era as an unmitigated success is if they win a Super Bowl. That's no knock on Joe. The reason we talk about Joe in those terms is we know how good he can be. We know what he can accomplish. But that's it, man. That's like all the offseason maneuvers and trade and offseason signings and free agency now make the conversation about no excuses. Zach Taylor hot seat if you want to go that direction. But more than anything, okay, Joe, go deliver a title. And by the way, if it's okay, Joe, go deliver a title versus okay, fill in the blank with your name of a quarterback, go deliver a title, I'll take Joe Burrow. If the biggest factor for the 2026 Bengals is quarterback play, let's go. Game on. But the clock is ticking. Like, it's probably ticking on Zach Taylor, and it's also ticking on Joe Burrow. There is certainly a very distinct possibility that Joe Burrow and the Bengals extend their relationship with each other. Do we think that's going to happen if they continue to be on the outside looking into the playoffs? Like, this isn't about Joe wanting out. It's about Joe finishing his career here. And if you assume, as I do, that he's going to play beyond the 2029 season, I would imagine the Bengals would very much like for Joe to continue to be their quarterback deep into the next decade. the only way that relationship gets extended in all likelihood is if there's some team success. So the clock is ticking, man. Like, if you look at the history of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, and no two are the same, but there are quarterbacks who win almost immediately. Tom Brady won almost immediately. Ben Roethlisberger won almost immediately. And then there are quarterbacks who win after a few years, and then there's a large group of QBs who win between years 6 and 10 of their NFL careers. Now, some of those guys weren't year one, day one starters like Joe Burrow, but like it did take Peyton Manning 8 years before he won one. Right? It took Aaron Rodgers his 6th NFL season before he won his first, and to date only title. Well, we're now talking about years 7 through 10. There's a few rare instances where it happened for the first time for a quarterback after their 10th season, most notably John Elway, year 15. Like, this is it. This is the prime. This is the window. And so everything they've done this offseason is about not so much making Joe Burrow happy, although that obviously is a component. It's about them winning while they've got him. It's about giving him the best opportunity to deliver what he was brought here to deliver. He sounds excited about doing it, but that, among all the ins and outs that we're going to sift through over the next few weeks, the Joe Burrow era isn't just starting anymore. I know these 6 years have flown by. It feels like he just got here. Dude's going to be 30 by the end of the season. We are closer to the end of Joe Burrow's current contract than we are at the beginning of his time as an NFL player. And who knows what this team is going to look like when we get to years 9 and 10? Who knows what sort of things we're going to be talking about as it relates to Joe and his relationship with the Bengals by the time we get to years 9 and 10? So, yeah, man, there's an extraordinary amount of pressure on this organization because it genuinely does feel to me like, if not now, then when? And the more years you go without winning, the fewer cracks you're going to get at it. Maybe the more unlikely it is that they do win. So we will see. Really, I know sometimes it doesn't sound like this, but I am naturally an extraordinarily optimistic, glass half full person. There are probably people in my life who are laughing at that, but as a general rule, I love optimism. The Reds played really well this last week. Really well since the start of the proverbial second half of the season. To win 3 straight series is not insignificant. If you win 6 out of 9 on the road, I don't care who you're playing, that's a big deal. And so what they have done is they have at least kept themselves on the fringes of the wild card race. They are 5 games behind Arizona. Now, it's worth pointing out Arizona and the Reds have played each other 3 times. The Diamondbacks have won 2. And so I've seen it on social media. Are we sure they're not still in the wild card race? Are we sure they should have a fire sale? By the way, they should not have a fire sale, because a fire sale is you trade your core. By no stretch of the imagination should they trade their core. So, all right, I'll pour cold water on it. Let's do some basic math. Right now, the team that is holding the 3rd wild card spot is the Arizona Diamondbacks. And they are on a pace to win 84 games. For the Reds to get to 84 wins, they'll have to go to 30. They'll have to finish 35 and 23 over their final 58. Right now, they still have, according to win percentage, the toughest remaining schedule in all of baseball. They have 28 games remaining between the combined sextet of Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Cubs, White Sox, and D-backs. Their best pitcher, their staff ace, is already on an innings limitation. The odds are not in their favor. Call it what it is. They're also not just 5 games back, but they have to leapfrog 6 teams to get to the last wild card spot. Got to leapfrog Miami. The Marlins have been in free fall, but they've lost 12 in a row. They've got to leapfrog Miami. They've got to leapfrog San Diego. They've got to leapfrog St. Louis. They've got to leapfrog Washington. They've got to leapfrog Pittsburgh, and obviously the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, I didn't just name a bunch of great teams, but it is really, really hard to make up 5 games in 58. It is even harder when you've got to leapfrog that many teams. So maybe they can do it. And by the way, if they go 35-23 and get to 84 wins, there's no guarantee that's going to be enough. My guess is it won't be. So sure, they've played well. And I think the right response to that is to hope that it continues and hope that whatever the makeup of the roster is in a week, that they play well and make up ground and maybe change the conversation come September. But what are the odds of them catching Arizona and leapfrogging all the teams I just mentioned? They're not great. I hope it happens. Would be a really cool story if it happened. You and I hope it happens. But would you bet on it happening? Would you bet an amount of money that matters to you? I mean, like not a simple wager where it's like, you know what, I'll bet a few bucks and get a really nice payday because of the value. Like, I mean, take an amount of money that matters to you and bet on the Reds making the postseason. You would not. Maybe you would have at the beginning of the season. Maybe you would have when they were 20-11. You would not right now. So what do you want Nick Krall to do? Understanding that it makes no sense to hold a fire sale and trade away from their core. What do you want them to do? Go into buy mode? Go into buy mode and go acquire short-term rental pieces. Although you can be in buy mode and not limit yourself to short-term rental pieces, but go get short-term rental pieces in exchange for players who could help you down the road for the sake of trying to accomplish something that the odds are not in favor of you accomplishing, or being smart about it and making moves that make you better next year by being in sell mode. Again, you can be in sell mode, and it's hard because the Reds have a lot of rental players. They only have so many guys who you can get beyond 2026, and one of them just went on the injured list. The other is J.J. Bleday. Like, there really is probably a limit to what Nick Krall could accomplish in terms of player acquisition at the trade deadline. But still, if it's as simple as buy or sell, understanding that selling might make you have a better chance of having success later, and buying might make you have worse of a chance later, aren't you going to want to play the odds? The odds are not in the Reds' favor, and that is an obvious statement, and I don't like to say it, and you don't like to hear it, but you got to deal with reality. You got to deal with math. And so, yeah, man, keep playing well. Hope they play better. If they play better, regardless of what they do at the deadline, it will likely be because some players who are fighting for spots on next year's team are earning spots on next year's team. Or some of the guys that you want to see a little bit more from show you a little bit more. Like, there's no downside to continuing to win. But you can't use limited success in 9 games out of the All-Star break cause you to change what your likely plan is. You got to play the odds. If you're Nick Krall, the odds are your team is not going to make the postseason. It's going to be really hard for them to do that. If they do it, awesome. If not, you would at least like to have something to show for what you did at the deadline. Even if what you do at the deadline is hard to do, even if what you do at the deadline is not really easy to mesh with being in the hunt, being in the wild card chase, look at the odds, look at the standings, do the math. Does it make sense to be in buy mode at the expense of something that can help you next year, or be in sell mode and try to get some assets that can help you down the road? I think we know the answer. Go vote on my poll question. It's at Mo Egger, thanks to United Heartland Insurance. United Heartland Insurance can help you pay less for insurance. What do you want Spencer Steer to be in 2027? Vote now. At Mo Egger. Tomorrow on the show, Paul Dehner Jr. joins us. We preview training camp. We'll talk Reds Guardians and so much more. plus our sports legal expert, attorney Stuart W. Penrose, on skepticism being expressed by one national college basketball analyst about whether a certain UC Bearcat will suit up for Jared Calhoun this fall. Looking forward to that. Anything you might have missed on this show, go find on the iHeartRadio app. Podcast of this show are a service of Long Neck Sports Grill, and have an awesome night. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3:05. This is ESPN 1530 Cincinnati Sports Station.
Cincinnati's ESPN 1530.